150 Americans die from fentanyl-related overdoses every single day. And aside from that shocking statistic, there's the terrifying fact that many people who die have no idea they're even consuming it. That's because fentanyl is secretly added to other common drugs that users think they know how to use safely. So instead of getting perhaps that familiar high or even just relief from pain, they get a fatal surprise. And in turn, their families join a club of sorts that nobody ever wants to be part of. Our next guest is now a lifelong member after his cousin's death made national headlines back in January. It's a story we covered extensively on NewsNation. Clayton, McGeeney, David Harrington, and Ricky Johnson all attended a Kansas City Chiefs football game to watch the game and party back in January. 2 days later, they were found dead in the backyard of their friend Jordan Willis's home. Willis says he had no idea his friends' bodies were out there. Willis reportedly checked himself into rehab after the incident and moved out of the home at the center of the investigation. Police say they have found no evidence of foul play. An autopsy and toxicology results are not public, but reportedly did show that the men all had 3 times the lethal amount of fentanyl plus cocaine in their systems. Well, now the mother of one of those 3 men who died, David Harrington, she wants criminal charges filed against the owner of that house. Clayton McGeeney's cousin Alan says regardless of whether they're criminal charges, he just wants his cousin's death to save a life. So he's talking out about the fentanyl crisis. Alan McGeeney joins us now. Thank you so much, Alan, for being here. I just want to get your reaction to what David Harrington's mom is doing. She's calling for criminal charges of some kind to be filed against Jordan Willis. Do you think charges are warranted?
Yeah, I mean, I understand a mother's pain, searching for some sort of understanding and looking for blame. I mean, I understand that completely, but I mean, I don't know if the blame would be on, I mean, I forget the guy's name, as Jordan, you said?
Jordan.
I don't think Jordan is to blame here, personally. I don't want to take anything away from a grieving mother, but I mean, Jordan wasn't much different than my cousin Clayton, and I loved Clayton, so I don't necessarily see an issue in Jordan's actions. I mean, he was right there with my very best friend, so I personally don't feel the same way.
Yeah. Police do say there's an investigation ongoing, but that there's no evidence of foul play. What is it they're still investigating?
Yeah, I haven't really been following it, if I'm following anything, it would be more just where the nation is. What is the nation doing? I don't necessarily think that it's Jordan's fault here. I think that it would be the society itself. There's not too much going on to stop fentanyl getting into America. You said it was 150 people every day died from it.
Yeah.
150 children, 150 kids. So, I mean, what's going on overseas and what's causing all of the uprise in the colleges now, and how many days would it take to meet that same amount of life being lost? Like, where is the uproar for that?
Yeah, the autopsy report has not been released, but we know the families were told that there was fentanyl, THC, and cocaine in all the men's bodies. We see this tragedy every day. People get a Percocet and think it's just, because they've got back pain. People just go to a party and want to do something fun to get a little high. They have no idea that the drug they might be taking, the pill they might be taking, that it's tainted with fentanyl.
Yeah, drugs have always been a part of, seems like a part of growing up. In the 70s, it was one thing, 60s, it was one thing, 80s, it was a different drug. And now the drug that the kids are dealing with is fentanyl. I mean, you take some acid or some mushrooms and it doesn't kill you. Cocaine back in the 80s, you take a look, it didn't kill you. Well, now you take a drug and you're risking your life.
Yeah. Jordan Willis went into rehab shortly after the men were found dead in his yard. Is he out? Have you heard anything?
There's any contact I had with that group of friends after Clayton died, that was kind of the person that I would, with that group of people, that was the connection to it. So I have absolutely no idea what's going on with it.
Alan, what would you say to everybody listening about the dangers of fentanyl right now? Your family's been really touched by this.
Man, I would just like to talk to the parents, if anyone's listening. This is something that your children deal with, and your children, if they haven't dealt with it, they will deal with it. So, I mean, if thank you, Elizabeth, for putting it on your show and trying to reach out about it, but I don't personally don't think it's getting enough coverage.
Yeah.
So parents, it's up to the parents at this point. You got to take your family in your own hands.
Yeah. Do not. I tell my kids this all the time. I don't care what it is. Even if it's somebody hands it and says it's an aspirin, don't take it. You never ever take a drug of any kind.
There's kits out there. There's stuff. There's tests. If you're a smart kid,
the tests don't actually test the whole thing. You should no drugs.
Just don't do it.
No drugs.
Just no drugs. Hey, there you go.
All right, Alan McGeeney. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.